it out. I was the most awkward person to be guided by, because the moment I got to do this or do that, I did the exact opposite or something totally different. Until I realised that actually I was going along the path that they were doing because they'd outthought me. So I started to deviate and do what was not right. And then after a while I proved to myself that I'm in charge and that I can be guided, I can be shown, I can be explained. And if I'm explained in consciousness and how things are correct, then I will listen and follow. But when I'm trying to be forced, I mean, that's a human trait with everybody. Yeah. You don't like to think you're not in control. Yeah. Well, you are in control of your physical body, it's yours. For the duration that you've got it. Yeah. And it's the greatest gift of the universe. Okay. Because with your physical body, I can communicate with you. I can communicate with other consciousnesses around. I can live in the world. I can move myself from A to B. The gift of a human body with the senses. We can sense beauty. We can give and receive love. We can give and receive hatred. The choice of being good and bad is yours.
Yeah, okay. That's a good answer. And what about the future, David? I mean, there are a lot of rumours about 2012, the possible return of Nibiru,
yes.
This kind of thing. Do you have, what's your feel just for the future in general?
Well, the future in general is, I think right now you're seeing the last of the really negative echelons on the side. I do feel there's going to be 4 periods when we're all going to become more sovereign, more individual. We're actually going to wake up. More and more people are listening to intelligent intellectual conversation and taking note of it. I mean, when you watch the television today, I mean, what an insult to intelligence to listen to what's on that box. It's an idiot lantern. And it really tells you that there's many aspects of it. I mean, the most horrendous destruction to society is created by the destroying of the family. And the family, of course, is the responsibility of your actions, thoughts, words and deeds. And if you are responsible for your thoughts, words and deeds, you are in charge of yourself. Then, of course, you can't be in that situation. But, of course, as we're evolving and younging and we learn, and we begin to learn, we see what's coming out of the television. I mean, you look at the soaps, what a horror story. How to kill your parents, how to fall out with people, how to fight each other. There's more murders and deaths in Coronation Street and EastEnders than anything. You're being shown deliberately how to do it. Now, I rephrase and go back to the tape. When we were young, we went to school. The teacher would write on the chalkboard, you would copy it. When you see things on the television, you're doing exactly the same, you're copying it. So the people that are producing television programs that show murder, death and destruction, right, is controlled. And that's being induced upon our whole of our society by what you're told, what you thought and what you're doing. So instead of getting programs of love, light, compassion, teaching wonderful things, teaching us how to become harmonious, and balanced and linking in it, what are we getting? Teaching us to be selfish, individual, to fight for. We're told in this world that there's only one life. That's a total and utter lie. We all live forever because the human body is not you. And when you live forever, right, as it goes on those sections, right, you realise that you become responsible. And I can assure everyone on this planet, you do live forever. And you come back to this planet. This is our planet. It does not belong to Bush, Blair, the royal families, the Illuminati, or even certain periods of ETs. They've all come here with loving grace to show us. Well, one of the biggest shocks for when people are going to realise that the ETs are benevolent. The higher dimension conscious beings. They have evolved past the desires of individuality and take on the responsibility not only from themselves, for the whole of creation. And then when you realise everything is made, and we have the capability, we are in creation, we make our own lives, our own thoughts, words and deeds, create our experiences on the planet.
Okay. And do you think there is a disclosure going to come from a government and they're going to admit to knowing about ETs?
Yes, it's coming. Look at the papers today. The papers, again, are the media. Media is controlled by the same people. All the televisions, radios and newspapers, practically in the entire democratic world, are all controlled by just a couple of groups of organisations. And when you know that, they're only allowed to do it. I mean, we had a recent incident here in Blackpool when a gentleman died on a stage, having said 2 minutes earlier that he was going to tell us who the Antichrist was, who killed Bobby Kennedy, and was explaining about 9/11. He drops dead. As soon as he starts to talk about it, on the stage in front of 400 people. Was there a word about it in any newspapers? No. I rang the local newspaper and asked them what they were doing about it. And they said they couldn't do anything about it. But of course the front page that day was full about dog shit on the promenade at Blackpool. So I mean, which is more intelligent? A guy who's going to have to do this, who drops dead. And of course a lot of people there no longer believe that he died of natural causes. Because he was about to release a lot of information that would have been detrimental to the people that have the vested interests.
So do you think there's going to be disclosure?
Yes, there is. Just look at the televisions and newspapers. Just look at the Sun newspaper, which is one of the biggest comics you've ever got.
Well,
but I mean, it does tell you.
Read as well.
Well, one of the reasons is if people read it the most, then it's the best place to put information in.
Yeah.
Every single day in the last 2 weeks, practically, there's been either UFOs, other dimensions, other ghosts, variations, and array. You've got to realise that the UFO phenomena is attached to everything else. People say it's separate. It's separate from the understanding of the control of the planet. No, it's not. It's part of what's actually going on. All of the understanding there. We on this planet have lived in a massive total illusion. The illusion of history is a total and utter lie. The archaeology of the stones doesn't match the stories. When you check it out, it's all there. We're also told we only live once. I've already mentioned this. That's a total other lie. Because when you only live once, you grab everything you can at this time and think that you're going to be successful. Right. Well, the pharaohs showed you. You can't take the money with you. Grave robbers got it, right? We've come here to learn the hyperdimensional experiences of courage, wisdom and heart, which shown to us in many programs. And when we understand that we're here to become partnership, to love, to learn, to share, to become harmonious, to learn to get on with, right? To experience life and enjoy it. Yeah. Laughter is the greatest happiness, the greatest joy. There's so many ill people walking around the planet today because their mindsets have been given such dark entities and such dark energies given to us by the televisions, the radios and the newspapers with a constant barrage of negativity, destruction, end of the world, and a load of crap. Okay. I'm going to tell you that the year 2012 will come and go exactly as the year 2000 did, exactly as 6666 did, as exactly as the others. The next day will follow on the same. The only difference is by that time, the average mankind on the planet will have woke up, will no longer believe the box of the lies from officialdom, but is able to work things out, will be self-thinking, will be able to think outside the box, and will suddenly realise the illusion that we've all lived in, and will say enough's enough, no more. Right. And people will not follow the lead of the governments. Right. One of the greatest fears I see right now, and one of my greatest heartaches, is all over the world. In the last few weeks and a few months, you've seen the destruction in Gaza. You've seen the total one-sided view of the media, of the destruction. I mean, you get so much interviews, you see these odd single missiles fired at random into areas, landing in an area, and that gets more coverage than direct bombing from the most advanced planes dropping the most dedicated munitions into the middle of collapsed cities. And why, of course, was no reporters allowed in? Because, of course, the death toll that we were told is only what we've been told. And the numbers that have died are far advanced of what they were told. Right now, it's a part of genocide. But it's no worse than the British and the Americans. I mean, we've got some people who cannot understand that they are responsible for their thoughts, words and deeds. And we all know that our biggest thought or our biggest deed is our own actions. And we all know that the worst crime any of us can commit is the one of the destruction of the life of a fellow human being. And in my cases, I say a lot of animals as well, right? And in fact, the very planet. And we've got people who go out and murder other people for the benefit of others. How can you possibly say somebody using infrared, guiding in missile bombs from 10 miles away against people with rifles and rocket-propelled grenades walking across the countryside, who, by the way, are in their country? We have invaded their country. We are the insurgents, not the other way round. You see, it's the way that you present yourself that gives it to you. So, of course, these are the same people who are orientated. It's when the soldiers are going to realise, why do you think we've had 3 British soldiers commit suicide in the last few weeks? Because they realise they're committing murder. They're killing with advanced technology. For the benefit of who? For the benefit of those that's always had all the money, power and wealth, who haven't controlled their desires. All these rich bankers, it's a total disgrace. Do you not realise we're being wound up? We're being shown. It's so blatant in your face. I mean, this bonus culture which is going on now is an absolute load of crap. A bonus should only be given to a company that's made a net profit on top of all their expenses, paid all the debts off, and then if there's anything left over, right, having to done all that, then you can divide it into bonuses. To pay a bonus for somebody doing something when the company itself is in debt, and then to have people who put money into that company losing it while this guy gets millions, it's immoral. Yeah. It's not illegal. That's because, of course, the people at the top who run the powers, who run the money, who are doing those things, those people are taking as big bonuses. You've even shown that in the paper. The people that's doing it, how long do we have to tolerate it? I mean, to then mortgage it to our grandchildren, it's a disgrace. And don't tell me this is separate from the religions and separate from aliens and UFOs. It's not. because these people are quite well aware that we are surrounded now in this solar system by thousands of benevolent species who keep dropping into the society so we can see them in the skies. They're not going to land, because if they did land, we would kill them. We'd kick them to death, we'd shoot them, we'd destroy them. How could we possibly be exposed in our animalistic instincts of self-preservation, which we all have, and greed and opulence, to meet an ET? These intelligent beings, of course, are here. They care and love us that much that they wouldn't fire back. That's why we've been able to destroy them and shoot them down. That's why there's such an advanced technology in America. When the Roswell crash gave us silicon chips, light-emitting diodes, super-tendency fibres, which of course made America's Silicon Valley the most advanced country in the world in that form of technology. And of course I thank them for that, because for the first time for 2,000 years I can get information off the internet, not controlled by the royal families, the religious leaders, the global elites, those that know the real truth, who keep the knowledge to themselves. Well, it's time to share that knowledge. And I've spent my lifetime here in this exhibition learning, and now have displayed it. We have over 150 boards, 8 foot by 4 foot, as the boards to the left here, right, show, of all the information in mathematics and geometry, the complete explanation of the ETs, all the ancient monuments, how to decode them, the phenomena of crop circles. All these are all interlinked, all part of the same, to the control. And of course, it's time to share this knowledge, not to keep it ourselves.
And the name of the exhibition, David?
Is the Exhibition of the Universe. We're situated on the Central Promenade at Blackpool, opposite Central Pier, on the corner underneath the Happy Days Amusement Arcade.
Right. Okay then, David, that was fantastic.